this welcome sequence actually makes sales. Look, most welcome sequences are really self-indulgent. They're like, oh, look how fabulous I am. Or even worse, here's my rags to riches story and no one cares, right? It's true. So here's a really good welcome sequence that's working right now, today, this year, that's actually really effective. It really wins people's hearts, their relationship with you. It actually makes sales, and it even helps you get more of your emails delivered. That's what we're going to talk about in today's episode. When someone first joins your email list, they just don't care about you. Think about it. When you join someone's email list, you don't care about them. What do you care about? You care about the fact that you've got a problem or you've got something you want to learn and you think they can give you the solution to that problem. And that's the same for your subscribers. So I don't know why on earth so many people's welcome sequences start with their rags to riches story or this is my unique thing. They don't care, right? They care about themselves and how you can solve their problem. So this is the email sequence. It's 5 really simple emails you're going to send straight away when someone joins your email list. The first time a new person joins your email list for the first time, this is what you're going to send them. And you're going to send it 1 or 2 hours after they've joined your email list. Why such a delay? Well, if they signed up for your lead magnet, the very first thing they should receive from you is not a welcome email. It needs to be the very lead magnet they asked for. So the very first thing they should get immediately needs to be what they asked for, the thing they bought, the here's my newsletter, here's the lead magnet. And then 1 or 2 hours later, you're going to start sending the first email of this 5-part email sequence. And this is a really important email sequence because at the end of the day, this is your most read email sequence ever. Like, you are never going to get this level of attention from people that you do with your first welcome sequence. That's why we're not going to start with a story about you, because they just don't give a toss about you at this point. They care about themselves. And we're not going to waste this opportunity, right? So I'm going to give you a 5 email sequence that helps you with them getting to know you, you getting to know them. It helps you position yourself as having a unique way that's actually going to help them and do this in a way that's different. And you're actually going to improve your email deliverability. It's really, really simple to do it. I'm going to walk you through the whole thing today. And look, we have to use this whole sequence because of 2 reasons: the human element and the tech element, right? Most other people who are talking about and teaching and even giving welcome sequences away only teach the human element. They only teach the copywriting element because they're copywriters. What you've got in this strategy combines both the technology of getting your emails delivered, make sure in the primary inbox, not in the spam, and also that copywriting element, also what you should be doing with the psychology of those email subscribers, okay? So the very first email that we're going to send is what I call the connect email. In fact, there is one single email strategy that has brought me in more than 8,000 paying students so far, and it's made us millions and millions of dollars for our business. And I call it the Fast and Forever email framework. And you can actually download that entire Fast and Forever email framework right now. It's completely free for tuning in to this show. So if you want to go and download it at emailmarketingheroes.com/fast, and it's free to download on that page. So in this connect email, what we're going to do is that this very first email is we're going to show people where else they can connect with us. We live in a world of the lowest levels of trust ever. So what we want to do in this first email is show that we are 3-dimensional. We're not just this person who's going to randomly show up with words in their email inbox. We want them to connect with us and see us in different places, right? So if you've got a free Facebook group like we do, tell them about your Facebook group. If you're big on Instagram, I use Instagram, so here's my Instagram. Tell them where else they can come and connect with you, all right? And that means that they get to see pictures of you. They might see videos of you. They might see you interacting with people. But even if they don't go and do it, they can see you're not just this person hiding behind an email address, all right? The next thing you want to do in that first email is tell them very clearly how often you are going to be in touch. You want to set expectations for these future emails so that your future emails are actually going to be successful. So if I say to you in my first email, hey, I'm going to be in touch with you every day with a brand new tip about email marketing, how to make more sales from your emails, you're going to be like, this is awesome. Whereas if I don't tell you that, and you download my lead magnet, and then I'm in touch with you every single day, you're going to be like, whoa, what's with all the emails, dude? I wasn't expecting these. People don't like surprises. I don't like surprises, right? So you want to make sure that you say to them, hey, I'm going to be in touch with you every single day. Or I'm going to be in touch with you every Friday. I'm going to be in touch with you 3 times a week. The more specific you can be about how often you're going to be in touch and which days it's going to be, the better. Because that gives people this sense of certainty, right? The next thing we're going to do, and this is a huge mistake, and it's a big lie that I see so many supposed experts talking about, but you've got to be careful with this. One of the big shifts we made in our first email of our welcome sequence, in this connect email, is we actually tell them about our main offer. We call it a Rome offer. It's your all roads lead to Rome offer, the thing you ultimately want all of your people to be in. So that might be your membership. It might be your core course. It might be your coaching program. We tell them about it in just a couple of lines, just a subtle mention on a big pitch in the first welcome email. Why do we do that? Because there are some people who are joining your list to find out the biggest and best solution to their problem. And so you had better bloody well show up and tell them what the best solution is. And if you're anything like me, like most of us, your best solution to their problem is inside of your main core paid offer. We make sales from that very email. And it's not a big pitch. It's just like, hey, if you'd like to accelerate this, if you'd like to get to our top level program, this is what it is. You just make a subtle offer, because then the people who are like, you know what? I just like to go head first into things. Those people are going to jump straight into that. I'm one of those people. If I've got a problem, like I know, for example, there's one guy called John. I've never bought anything from him. We shared the stage at an event, and afterwards I was like, do you have a community? Do you have something like to be around more people like you at your level? He was like, yeah, I've got this mastermind. It's 35 grand. I was like, I'm in. I had bought nothing. And then I went straight into my first interaction with him was, what's the highest level program you've got? And I joined immediately. There are, and it depends, obviously not in every area of my life I'm going to do that. Obviously, like there's only some things at certain points I'm going to do that. Okay. So in this email, you really want to be showing people how they can immerse themselves in you and your philosophies, your maxims, your main beliefs around your topics. That's a really good place to link. If you've got like a YouTube channel or a podcast or a private podcast, something like that, you should be linking to those as well. That first email is going to be like a menu of different ways these people can connect with you deeper, whether that's through more of your content, YouTube, Facebook group, your Instagram, that kind of stuff, or by enrolling in one of your actual things they can buy, one of your paid products. And you also want to make sure you tell people about the frequency of your emails. That's the first email. That's what it should do. I think you can pretty easily do that. You know where they should be going. You know what you should be doing. Email number 2 is a really simple email. I call this the engage and ascend email. Really short, really simple email. And the whole point of this email is to have that new subscriber reply to you. And the reason you want them to reply is twofold. One is you want to humanize the experience in a world where there's lots of AI and everything's bloody automated. You want to really show and stand out that you actually care. They've got some significance. They matter to you, as they should. And the way you show that is by actually saying, hey, you can reply to me. Because when I say you can reply to me, what does that mean? Hey, I'm going to read the replies. It's implied, right? So you say, hey, I want you to reply to me. And that deepens your relationship with that person. Next, the other good reason to do this is that it helps with your email deliverability. When Gmail and all of its buddies sees that a person replies to your emails and you reply to them, which you should do as well, you reply to that reply, it says, oh, this is a conversation. This is a legit person. This is the furthest away from a spammer. Because a spammer, usually the replies will just go to a dead end, a black hole of the internet. But this person's actually engaging in a conversation. That replying conversation improves your deliverability score for all of your emails, not just for that contact. It's really, really powerful. And here's the really beautiful thing. A person who replies to you and says something and you reply back to them, this person is the most engaged person. So this is a really good opportunity if you have a call team, if you have some setters, if you have some kind of system where you can reach out to that person directly. This person is a really hot prospect that you can ascend. That's why I call this the engage and ascend. There are people who reply to our emails who we engage with directly, either by email, move them to DMs, move them to a phone call or a Zoom call, and they buy because they just see the significance. Okay? That's email number 2. Email number 3 is what I call the contrarian email. This is where you're going to show up and show something and share a story, something like that, which shows why your approach is different. Because your approach is different, your results that you get are different. It's really important today, with such a vast number of offers out there, lots of different people teaching similar-ish stuff to you, promising similar-ish stuff to you, that you show people why your thing is different and therefore therefore it's more likely to get them results. Because by the time that somebody comes to any of us with their problem, they've probably already tried a few different ways of solving that problem. They've maybe bought some smaller things, they've maybe watched some free stuff, they've maybe tried some software if that's applicable, something like that, and they still haven't solved the problem. And that means they've now been let down a number of times. So if they don't clearly see why what you do is different, then they are not going to believe that you are any different to the other people. Therefore, they shouldn't buy from you. They shouldn't even really engage with your emails. That's why I want to do this in just the third email in this sequence. We want to say what we're doing is wildly different. So show them why your approach is different. In our case, I talk about the legit psychology that we use in our email market compared to what most people do, which is just copywriting. We use complete email strategy. We're not just about the copywriting and the words in the emails. We're about what's actually being said and why is it being said, and that has a bigger impact. You will, and obviously I say it much better than that in the email, right? So what is your contrarian approach that makes your results different, makes them more likely to be successful with your approach? Because remember, in sales and selling, all we're selling is hope. Think about that. All any of us is ever selling is hope. Hope that this time your solution will be the one that actually gets them the result. So make sure you're very clear about this is why my approach is different, and therefore you're going to get different results. Email number 4 is to simplify and amplify. In this email, what you're going to do is you are going to simplify everything and amplify what it is they're supposed to do and why it's urgent to actually fix it. One of the reasons that people come into your world is because they are overwhelmed. They've consumed loads of reels and Instagram and this and TikToks and YouTube and some podcasts, and they've read some books, and they don't know how the pieces fit together. They don't know what to do in which order. They don't know what to start with or what to do next, and they don't know how to put them together into a system that actually works together. So your job is to say, hey, I'm the person with the plan. Don't worry, it is not as complicated as you're thinking it is with your overwhelmed current state. Really, it just boils down to this. And then once you show them how it's just this, you then amplify the importance of this by saying, but until you do this one simple thing, everything else is much more complicated. Everything else is overwhelming. And that's why it's urgent that we solve this problem. And that's why I want you to obsess and focus on just this thing. Of course, that thing is the very thing that you do. That's the simplify and amplify. Okay? And the final email is the credibility lesson email. And this is where you're going to subtly weave in your credibility, maybe your experience, while you're teaching a lesson. Really simple way of doing that is by saying something. Maybe you've got a lesson you want to teach. Hey, I'm going to talk about I email every single day. Maybe that's the lesson. The more often you email, then the better results you're going to get. Because that's true. That might be the kind of lesson that I would teach. So let's use me an example. So I've definitely taught that on stage hundreds of times at different events. So I might use the fact that I've been on stage at larger events of thousands of people as my credibility plane. So rather than just showing up and saying, hey, I'm really good, you should trust me because I've spoken on stage at lots of events, and Rich Sheffrin said this about me, and I've sold this many millions of dollars worth of product, and I've helped more than 8,000 paying clients. That's all just brag, and it doesn't have any value. No one cares. They're going to be like, I don't care, and shut down. And that's the way it should be. They're not really going to believe you either. Instead, if you weave in some credibility like, hey, when I was speaking on stage at AdCon in London and there was 1,000 entrepreneurs in the room, there was an audible gasp when I told them that I email my list every single day. And here's the thing. When you email your list more frequently, and then and I would go on to the lesson about email frequency, but I wove in the credibility. Okay. Or if it's not an event you've spoken at, maybe you haven't spoken at any events. That's cool. Maybe you've helped a certain number of people. Awesome. Hey, one of the things I've learned in helping more than 8,000 paying clients is that every time we up the frequency of how often they email, we get better results. And here's why, and then go into the lesson. You see the same thing? I've woven in credibility of like, oh, this person's actually done this stuff, because there's a lot of people who have just shown up as a coach today, and we want to show that you're not that person. The final thing that needs to happen in this last email email, and please don't miss this out, is that you want to hand over to the next email. There's going to be another email coming up. There's probably like an introduction to your offer or some kind of flash sale or some kind of other automated email coming up straight after this 5th welcome email. So make sure you hand over. And the simplest way to do that is to do what I call opening a loop. This is where you create a cliffhanger in the email. So you get to the end of that credibility lesson email and you say, oh, by the way, tomorrow I'm going to share with you the secret that has, and then big exciting outcome. Really make it a cliffhanger, like at the end of some kind of TV show. Tomorrow I'm going to reveal to you this big, really cool thing. And here's a really cool tip. Tell them what the subject line is going to be. Hey, the subject line is going to be the weird thing I do in my pants every morning. Right? It might be Star Jump. I don't know what it is, right? The weird thing I do in my pants every morning, make sure you look out for it. So you can bet your bottom dollar that tomorrow when that email lands that says, the weird thing I do in my pants every morning, they're going to go, oh, I recognize that. There is a sense of familiarity to that email. So not only have you teed it up with excitement in the 5th welcome email, but you've also created this idea of familiarity in the next day's email, and you're going to see a huge uptick of the number of opens you get on that email rather than the usual decline that everybody else does. As you can see, there's a bunch of really cleverly, purposely together, choreographed together psychology in these emails that each build up one on top of the other. And that's what this is all about. Go use this kind of welcome sequence and you'll notice that more people are replying to you. You're getting your emails inbox rather than spam box, and you are starting to make more sales from all of your future emails as well. See you in the next one.